Undying Rippy appears to tear off the bodies and don't show mercy on kids. The movie begins as the town has been experiencing a mysterious sequence of events for a couple of days. The camping site near the town has undergone a massacre, with blood splattered alongside the brutally butchered corpses inside, telling an unknown horror story. The local cop, Maddy, is a young, enthusiastic police officer. Her dad died at a very young age while trying to save Maddy from drowning. He was not only her father, but also a sports hero, a war hero, and a cop. Naturally, Maddy followed in her father's footsteps and chose a profession that prioritizes saving human lives. She knows that the whole town has great respect for her father, who died a hero. To this day, they remember him as a local hero, which means a lot to Maddy. Despite all this, she lives alone and misses her mom and dad. On the other hand, Schmitty takes his dog and goes to hunt the goats that he will later use for food. He hears a sound and thinks it will be easy to hunt today if he moves forward discreetly. Leaving his dog behind, he steps forward. But after walking a bit longer, he realizes that his dog is barking, as if trying to warn him of danger. Just as he turns around, what he sees is enough to scare Schmitty, and he shoots at the animal. Meanwhile, his dog runs to help his master. The scene shifts to Maddy chatting with people from the town. It's evident that she knows everyone, and they like her. Suddenly, Schmitty speeds up in his van and stops near Maddy. He looks scared and tries to tell her what he saw. The animal he encountered looked like a huge kangaroo and was unusually red. Maddy refuses to believe his wild claims and ignores him when he says that the kangaroo didn't die even after he shot it. She tells him to calm down and move his car out of the road. Afterward, she enters the pub just on the other side of the road. Her Aunt Dabby owns it, and some drunk guys are misbehaving inside. She brings both of them outside the pub, asking Dabby for a flashlight. She prohibits them from driving their cars home and gives them a flashlight to help them find their way in the dark. Later, she tells Dabby that Schmitty was there today and complained about a very dangerous animal in town that almost looked like a monster. Dabby refuses to believe what he said, as she knows him well. They have been divorced for many years. Meanwhile, the red kangaroo roams around the roadside as two men walk home, joking with each other. Suddenly, one of them stops by the road to pee and hears unusual movement in the bushes. They become frightened, but before they can discover what it is, the red kangaroo drags one of them away and tears his body apart, while the other begins to run down the road, away from the unknown beast. But all of a sudden, the red kangaroo attacks him as well and kills him. The next day, Maddy arrives at the location where they found the body. The body is badly torn apart, and it has bite marks on it. They don't think it could be a crocodile or a merciless murderer. At the same time, Schmitty arrives with his gun and claims once again that he already warned them about the unusual red kangaroo that attacked him and took Ralphie. Maddy tells him to leave, as they will handle the case. But before he leaves, he insists that this animal is a zombie. Maddy heads to the forensic department, where the forensic practitioner shows her the corpses of both men. He confirms that they were not murdered by any human, as the marks are very different, and he too confirms the bite marks on their necks. She begins her investigation by looking into recently released prisoners in the town, wanting to explore the possibility that one of them might be involved. She contacts Dave because he trains men for shooting, and one of the boys who works for him has a record of manslaughter. Dave tells her she can meet that man any time. Thus, Maddy stops the car at Dave's office and arrests the suspected male. She puts him in jail and then goes to the pub to see her aunt. There, she tells everyone that she has caught a man she suspects of killing both men, as she doesn't think there is any unusual animal. Troy and his mom are so happy that Troy can resume training for the upcoming game. Dabby smiles proudly at Maddy and says her dad must be so proud of her. Later that evening, Troy leaves home for jogging, and soon after that, darkness surrounds the town as the sun goes down. A while later, Troy hears unusual hissing and looks around, but after finding no one, he begins running, feeling that someone is fast approaching him to kill him. Unfortunately, the red kangaroo appears and tears his body into pieces. Meanwhile, his mother waits for him at home, preparing dinner, and Maddy looks through an old photo album of her father. Suddenly, her phone buzzes. It's Troy's mother, worried that he has not returned yet, which is highly unusual for him since he always comes home quickly. Maddy assures her that she will be there soon, but before she can reach them, the distraught parents find the butchered corpse of their young son. Maddy rushes to her Aunt Dabby's home. She blames herself for what is happening because she should have believed what Schmitty said in the first place about the zombie kangaroo roaming the town. Dabby does not believe Schmitty, as she has heard him telling such stories from the war, too. But Maddy insists there were kangaroo tracks that indicate there is definitely some giant animal. She gets in her car and drives to Schmitty's home, which is just a cabin. The pictures there reveal that he still loves Dabby and her family. Upon his return to the cabin, she shares that young Troy is another victim of a merciless killing. She sits with Schmitty, who encourages her and tells her that this is not the first time he has seen a beast. There was a fire-throwing creature in the jungles of Vietnam in the 1970s, and they only survived by hiding from it at that time. That was when he met and befriended her father. Maddy tells him to get ready to be part of the hunting party that will leave to hunt the red kangaroo tomorrow. Dave was already there when she arrived. She tells Dave to take his car to the other side, while she will take a different route to ensure a quicker success with the search operation. Schmitty gets in her car, and when Dabby finds him there, she gets annoyed, but only agrees to go if Schmitty sits in the back seat while she takes the passenger seat. Maddy watches their childish arguments and starts the car. They reach near the woods and load their weapons with ammunition before entering the dense jungle. Schmitty stops them as he senses danger at the end of the mine site in the woods. Suddenly, they see a camp stained with blood, and as Maddy looks inside, she sees freshly butchered corpses of unfortunate campers. Meanwhile, it gets dark, and Dave stops his jeep on the roadside. They focus the light on an animal lying on the other side of the fence. It is a giant kangaroo with deep wounds, as if it were eaten by some creature. At the same time, Dave tells them to keep quiet as he hears some unusual noises around. He divides his team into two, and both start moving in opposite directions, ready to shoot any animals as soon as they see one. They slowly move forward when a beastly-looking kangaroo attacks one of Dave's team members and eats his intestines. As soon as the other guy reaches to save him, the kangaroo attacks him as well and kills him. The girl runs in the opposite direction, but before she can get far from the animal, it attacks her and kills her too. Realizing there is no chance of survival against the brutal kangaroo, Dave gets into the car and drives away quickly. But after a while, the kangaroo attacks him in the car, causing him to lose control. The sound of the accident gets Maddy's attention, and she drives to see if Dave and his companions are all right. But soon, she finds Dave lying on the roadside, taking his last breaths. He dies in Maddy's hands, and she cries over the loss of another precious member of her town. At that moment, she feels discouraged, as if another person has died because of her mistake. she remembers that her father also died because of her. And when she tells Donna what she is thinking, Schmitty insists that now is the time for Donna to tell Maddy the truth. For the first time, Maddy learns that her father was drunk when he jumped into the water and hit his head on a rock, leading to his death. Donna made up the story to glorify his death because she didn't want Maddy to remember her dad in that way. Maddy feels terrible that not only she, but the whole town believed the story, as he was a sports and war hero. Suddenly, the undead kangaroo attacks their car and begins banging on the windows. Maddy tries to reach for the gun that fell from her hand and attempts to save Schmitty, who is holding off the kangaroo with his gun. Finally, she gets hold of her gun and fires a bullet at the kangaroo. The undead kangaroo remains unaffected by the bullets and only steps back a little. Afterwards, it comes onto the road and sees them, but then Maddy reverses the car to run over it. The kangaroo steps aside and vanishes into the jungle, causing Maddy to lose control of her car. It stops after a while, but luckily they are all safe. They decide to quietly return to town and warn the others that they are in grave danger. Schmitty takes them to his cabin, and they need to call someone in town. However, his battery is dead, so Maddy tells him to stop and wait there while she turns on the generator to charge the car's battery. It's not safe, but she asks Schmitty to fire as soon as the generator turns on. As she leaves, Donna looks at the pictures in the cabin and asks if he still loves her. During their marriage, he was very irresponsible while she ran the pub. Schmitty admits that he was wrong and apologizes. He tells her that he always regrets losing her, as she was the most important thing in his life. They hold hands, and hearing this soothes Donna, but Schmitty believes she deserves someone better than him. At the same time as Maddy is about to turn on the generator, Dog Ralphie gets out of the bushes, and the generator starts up. Donna quickly gets up to call the pub, but no one answers the call. Schmitty is thrilled to see Ralphie once again, and Maddy connects the battery connector to recharge. Afterwards, she puts it in the van, and they rush to the pub while the undead kangaroo attacks the van. They somehow speed up and reach the pub. They share the sad news that everyone with them is dead now, and that there is a very dangerous, monstrous animal in the town that could come at any moment. At that moment, Schmitty screams that the kangaroo is rushing toward them, and they quickly close the pub door and barricade it with furniture. To ensure the safety of the rest of the people, they stand against the door. Maddy has called for help already, but she becomes worried when she sees that it's only one man, and he doesn't know that this place is dangerous. Unable to open the main door, they shout at the policeman to go away, but he does not hear, and the monstrous kangaroo kills him. After the terrifying incident, they send all the visitors of the pub to the cellar and wait in the main hall. Not much time passes when the kangaroo bangs on the door and breaks inside. Schmitty, Maddy, and Donna hide behind the counter and try to think of what to do. Suddenly, they get an idea and throw a stick to get the kangaroo's attention. Maddy gets up to be a real hero like her father. Despite Donna's refusal to allow her to go, Maddy steps in front of the kangaroo and shoots multiple bullets at it. Finally, she fires a bullet at its face, which ruptures its eye, but it does not die. At the moment the kangaroo is about to attack again, Schmitty quickly hands her an axe, which Maddy uses to kill the kangaroo. It is finally dead, and all the people appreciate Maddy for saving their lives. The next morning, they leave the pub feeling safe in the town. But the scene shifts to the jail, where the 2 corpses of the men killed by the kangaroo are missing. The doctor is amazed, but before he can go or ask anyone, they attack him from behind, having turned into zombies after receiving bites from the zombie kangaroo. The movie ends here. If you like this movie, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel.